on Mar-a-Lago. You can see it right there. Cars coming in. Looks like dark at night again, early in the morning. But that's the only footage we have as of now. Here with more reaction is Fox News contributor, former Speaker of the House, Newt Gingrich. I think you remember the Sandy Berger incident. He went into the National Archives and came out with those documents in his pants and his socks and anywhere he can stick them.
Look, there's clearly a double standard. But I think what's even more troubling, and what every American, whether you're Democrat, Republican, doesn't matter, liberal, conservative, it doesn't matter. If 30 FBI agents can take over the house of a former president of the United States and probable candidate for president, what can they do to you? And when you look at the Democrats who are trying to add 85,000 IRS agents to the already existing 77,000, that would mean 162,000 IRS agents compared, for example, to 29,000 people that we have on the border trying to control the border. But the purpose of it's simple. They want to control you. These raids, the kind of thing you talked about earlier with taking people off an airplane in chains, having a guy standing outside at 3 in the morning in his pajamas, these things are all designed to intimidate. If this government can get away with third world tactics worthy of Venezuela or the East German Stasi or Zimbabwe under Mugabe, if that's the future, then the Constitution as a working document has ceased to exist. And I think part of the answer has to be to say to everybody who's going to get very upset, fine, go beat them at the polls in November. The answer to this is get a Republican House, a Republican Senate, and let's rip the corruption, not just in the FBI, but across the whole system. Let's rip the corruption out. But I have to tell you, I couldn't believe it when I first heard today that 30 FBI agents had invaded Mar-a-Lago when it was totally unnecessary. And it's clearly an effort designed, I think, partly to goad President Trump in the hopes that he will do something that will further validate the left's fantasy about the kind of guy he is. The fact is, he did nothing wrong. He's cooperated. And for his trouble, and you just heard Eric say this, the Trump family has been persecuted more than any presidential family in history. And I just want to repeat, if they can do this to a former and potentially future president, what can they do to you or your cousin or your friends or your neighbors? And I think it's a very scary step towards a police state eliminating the Constitution as a real document.
When you add up, for example, the treatment of Peter Navarro, in his case, we're talking about a misdemeanor, Mr. Speaker. You've been around Washington for a long enough time. Somebody commits a misdemeanor. They have a lawyer. The lawyer is contacted. Have your client report at this time at this place. You don't make a scene at an airport to humiliate the individual for a misdemeanor. I would argue the same for a process crime in the case of Manafort or Roger Stone. Certainly a message was sent here, but here's where the double standard comes in. This is why Hunter Biden is important. This is why Hillary Clinton's 33,000 email deletions are important. This is why the dirty dossier is important. This is why lying on FISA applications are important. If I ever lied to a judge, I think I'd be taken out in handcuffs and shackles too. This is why what Sandy Berger did is important. Now America has a right to ask, okay, why did you do this? Because I can't conceive of what would warrant the Attorney General of the United States and the FBI Director to allow and approve this action. Can you think of what they might have in the box?
Sean, let me let you in on a dirty secret.
Okay.
Everybody keeps trying to understand these people as though they are reasonable. This is the first big government socialist machine at a national level we've ever seen. We saw Tammany Hall in New York. We saw Mayor Daley in Chicago. We saw Huey Long in Louisiana. This is a machine. This machine is going to die if Donald Trump wins, and they know they're going to die because they have to survive off corruption and they have to survive off people doling out money like crazy. And so they're fighting for their lives. So to ask the question, why do they do this? I think it's like asking, why does a lion eat a zebra? These people get up every morning terrified. They know they're at war with the American people. They know that overwhelmingly the American people disagree with them. And if they can't find some way to intimidate us, to force us on defense, to tell us to shut up, and that's why they go out and they deliberately humiliate somebody, because you know what that does? That sends a signal to 6 or 8 or 10,000 people. You want to be humiliated? And I have friends now who tell me, serious senior professionals, that they're frankly frightened. They don't want to stand up and say they're for Donald Trump because they're afraid of what's going to happen. Either their big corporation is going to fire them, or if they're a lawyer, their law firm may kick them out, or they may be visited one morning by the FBI or by the IRS. Remember, we had a whole IRS scandal under Obama where they were targeting specific people. Do not underestimate how deliberately these people are committed to doing whatever it takes, including destroying the Constitution, in order to retain power. And that's going to be a major issue between now and the election this fall.
Mr. Speaker, I'm hearing you echo comments that Mark Levin made, that we live in a post-constitutional America. It sounds like you agree with him.
Well, I think we're on a balance. I think if the Republicans win this fall and reassert the Constitution, which is going to mean, frankly, firing an amazing number of corrupt people, then the Constitution will survive. But if the left manages to survive and manages to stay in power, I do think Mark Levin's right. We're entering basically a Venezuelan, Zimbabwean, East German style banana republic in which the law doesn't matter. What matters is power. What matters is favoritism. What matters is whether your team is paying off the right people. And that would be a very sick and tragic end to the American dream.
Don't you believe at this moment that the FBI Director Wray and that Merrick Garland, the Attorney General, owe it to the American people to explain why they authorized the raiding of a former president's house? Don't we deserve some explanation?
No, I don't. No. I think they owe the American people resigning. I don't need to be told by 2 liars the latest lie. The fact is, they authorized something that is clearly outside the bounds of the American system. They authorized something which has never, ever happened in American history. And the idea that they innocently, we didn't realize there'd be 30 FBI agents. We didn't realize that it would look bad. We really feel sorry. I'm sick of it, Sean. These people are bad people doing bad things. And it's time we said that, and we meant it, and we went out and won the election. Again, I think we ought to focus all of our energy on defeating the people who defend destroying the Constitution.
Well said, Mr. Speaker. Always great to have you.